Hey everybody, welcome back. I am Jason Salyer, and today we are filtering some water with some charcoal. This is some pretty clean looking water. It's pretty clear, not a lot of particulates in there, no pond scum or anything like that, so it's not really an issue. As far as this type of filter that we're going to do, if it was really scummy water, you'd want to have to do probably some sort of like 2 or 3 tiered filtration system, where you'd start with getting rid of the really big particulates, maybe using grass or something like that on the top, and then some sand underneath that, and then finish with charcoal. But since the water is pretty clear as is, and we're not having to worry about any of that small stuff, we're just going to go straight to the charcoal. This charcoal was made in a great big Dutch oven in a big old fire, in the comfort of my home. However, you can make charcoal just like that on a much smaller scale in a metal canteen cup just like this. You don't even have to have a lid. You can just get a flat rock of some sort. If you have a lid, that works really well, but you don't necessarily need it, and you can make yourself char in there. If you want to learn more about how to do that specifically, go to On 3 and you can see that video. What I want to do here is I want to crush up this charcoal that I've made, and I want to turn it into like a fine-ish powder. It doesn't have to be really fine, but the finer it is, the better. And I'm gonna use a sacrificial piece of cloth, like say my t-shirt or whatever. My old dirty sock, probably not preferable, but if that's all you had, then that would probably work. Actually, the shape of a sock would probably lend itself to making a pretty good filter. Let's say I found a trash water bottle. All I'd wanna do is just make myself a funnel, basically. So I can cut the bottom of my water bottle off. I'll leave the lid on for now, and then I will crush up my char in my t-shirt. Just gathered it up in the bottom of the shirt there in the fabric. And you don't have to cut your shirt up. You don't have to ruin your shirt. If you're limited on clothing, you don't have a whole lot of extra in a survival situation. It's going to get nasty and dirty, but you don't necessarily have to cut it up. So this is one of those water purification methods, water filtration methods that you could use if you weren't so prepared or didn't bring a filter with you, didn't have water purification tablets, weren't able to get a fire going and boil it, or it's just really scummy water and you wanted to be extra safe. Filter it and then boil it. All right, so what I've got here is some crushed up charcoal now. The finer you get it, the better it's going to filter out the small nasties, but that's probably going to suffice for now. The stuff on the bottom is really fine. The stuff on top's a little bit bigger, which is kind of the way you'd want to set up your filter anyway. Then what I want to do is I want to get this in my water bottle. A big 2-liter would be the ticket, but I don't have a 2-liter water bottle. All right, I shortened up my bottle just a little bit. I think that might work a little bit better. Then I'm just gonna cram that charcoal inside my t-shirt down into that bottle, so it makes sort of a charcoal funnel filter. And what I can do is use another water bottle if I've got one. If I don't, what I could have done, this would have been smart actually. Let's say you were limited on containers. What you could have done is left the bottom on here, like so, and just cut the water bottle in half and use half of it for the funnel and half of it for your container. But I didn't have that much forth. What I'm gonna do is use an additional metal container like this one. And then you just sit it on top of the bottle, like so. Like that, prop it up somewhere where it's not gonna fall over. And then we pour our dirty creek water into the filter very slowly. And the charcoal is pretty amazing. It's gonna absorb any contaminants, any nasties that might be in the water. Is it 100% foolproof, this method? No, of course not. But it is one step closer to having clean water. If you're forced to drink questionable water, anything you can do to filter it is gonna be good. All right, so let's say you did have some big particulates in your water. What you could do is just double up your t-shirt kind of like this, and then pour the water through an additional layer of cotton And this top portion of the first layer of cotton will catch any big stuff that might be in there. So let's say I've got, you know, some junk in my water like this, you know, something nasty. As I pour it in there, the cotton, the t-shirt will catch most of it. And then the charcoal will filter out the tiny little nastiness that's in there. So when you pour, you want to be a little bit careful that you don't pour over the sides, because if you overflow over the sides, it's just going to run down the side of the plastic bottle here and then into your water bottle and contaminate your water. You don't want that. I don't know if you guys saw the video of the me dragging the dead deer out of this creek right here, but about 50 yards upstream from here, there was a deer that was very badly decomposed in the creek. And if you were to drink the water downstream from it, it's very likely that you could get pretty sick. So you always want to filter your water if you can, boil it, purify it in some way when you're drinking wild water. So our water is going to taste a little bit like charcoal. It's got some charcoal pieces in there, but that's not really a bad thing. But the charcoal is not going to hurt you. The worst case scenario is if you do drink a lot of charcoal water or eat charcoal. You can just eat charcoal, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. You can just take a piece of charcoal and eat it if you have an upset stomach. The worst thing that can happen from ingesting charcoal is probably like constipation, maybe. But if you're in a wilderness setting and calorie deprived, you know, having bowel movements is probably not going to be a big deal anyway. You're going to be few and far between those, at least in my experience. Yeah, a little bit charcoal-y, but it's not bad at all. Nice clean water. You can see what it looks like. It's got a kind of a dark tinge to it because of the charcoal, but it won't hurt you at all. Eating the charcoal can potentially save your life if you've ingested something that might be poisonous plant or something. You were starving, you were desperate, you ate something that you probably shouldn't have, and you are suffering the consequences of that. Eating charcoal might be able to absorb some of those toxins, some of that harmful plant that you have eaten, and you'll be able to expel it from your body and get rid of that stuff before it causes any more damage.